Okay, I'm gonna share it, I think.
Okay. Oh yeah. Okay, cool. There it is.
Is it up?
So we're live now, right?
Yes. Let me share it really quick.
Super serious.
Oops. Hang on here. Share. Oops.
Shared. Cool.
Okay, did you share it?
Yes.
Good. Okay. Okay. Hey everyone. Thank you guys so much for joining in. I'm Daniel Stark with Stark Photography, and I'm inspired by so many people, and I thought it'd be so cool to do a Q&A with some of the most creative people I know, some of the most people who inspire me, and just find out, more about them, like what makes them tick, just get inside their creative process. And I know that a lot of us, like myself totally included, it's easy to get stuck in a creative rut. So I always kind of turn to other photographers, other creatives, just to like share stories, try to help us like get through these like kind of like crazy times with being stuck, just like feeling like your work isn't good enough, or you're just not booking enough. All the kind of things that happen when you're in this industry. So that's what I wanted to do with this show. I thought, hey, let's like do a little Q&A with some people and just talk about them, see what they do, how they do what they do, and I think it would be a fun place to inspire others, to get inspired and to learn. So with that said, the first guest we have is Citlalli Rico. She's a destination wedding photographer based in Cancun, Mexico.
Yes.
And you've been all over the world, and I think it would be so much fun for people to hear more about you and see what goes into the Citlalli Rico photography business.
Cool. Thank you. Thank you so much for inviting me.
Oh my gosh, yeah, thank you for being here. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Yeah. Are you one for New Year's resolutions?
Oh no.
Yeah.
I have none. I just go with the flow this year. Let's see what happens.
Yeah, totally.
How about you? Do you have any?
I feel like, well, this was like kind of a big New Year's resolution for me to put myself out there and to really like focus on building more of a photography community. Sometimes I feel like it's easy to get in your own little bubble. Even going to like these conferences and stuff, I still feel like it's easy to kind of like shut people out, and I really want to like build more of a community this year, just like to really kind of focus on other people and to be more inspired. So yeah, that's sort of like my business goal. Life goals, I'm like, oh my gosh, just taking it one day at a time. Yeah, having 2 kids now is kind of.
It's crazy. You have 2 girls. That's awesome.
Yeah, a girl and a boy. So yeah.
Girl and boy. Yes. Yes.
Yeah. So it's wild times over here at the Stark House. No sleep.
Yes.
Yeah. So I was curious, like, do you have a photo, like one of your most memorable photos that you first took that was like, hey, this is like really gonna get me like started in photography, or something that was very standout that you took, or first photo you took?
I actually don't. I mean, I love photography, but I had no idea I was going to end up being a photographer. Like, even in school, because I studied communications. So when you were doing really bad in school, they will tell you that you will end up being a wedding photographer. It was like the worst thing you could do. So I mean, being a photographer was cool, but you knew that you couldn't survive being a photographer here in Mexico. And being a wedding photographer back then, like, I don't know, 18 years ago, was like, God, no, you don't want to do that.
Yeah.
So obviously it wasn't my goal. And I mean, I took a few pictures, but I never thought, oh, this is it. This is what I want to do now. So it was very interesting.
Then what started it though? Then what really got you into wedding photography specifically?
Hunger. I was hungry. I needed money. I had no job. So, I mean, after school, I did have a couple of jobs, but it was like, they were terrible. So I had these friends that had a studio. They were already wedding photographers and they needed someone else. So they invited me and I said, sure, like I need something. So I started with them. And after a year, I was still saying that I was unemployed instead of saying that I was a wedding photographer.
So when you start out, you're kind of still doing it almost like without any other job. You're doing it like sort of full time in a way.
Oh yeah, right away. Like I had no job, so I just started it like, and they were super busy. So I was very lucky that way. My first year, I shot like, it was 2006. So it's been 12 years now.
Wow.
And yeah, and when I started, my first year, I shot like 100 weddings. It was crazy.
Wow. Are you still shooting that? Are you shooting that many now?
No. I'm down to 2025.
Okay. Like just out of choice. That's your happy number?
It's my happy number for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. What do you think makes you good at what you do?
I think it's because I connect with people, like I have a lot of empathy. So I'm just listening to whatever they have to say, and I guess I'm a good observer. So that's why I would like to think that that's why my photographies have certain meaning for people, because it's not just for me; it's also for them.
Yeah, exactly.
So
do you think that there's something that you totally suck at with wedding photography?
Sure, many things. Yeah, totally. I mean, I suck at all the selling part, all the business side. I mean, I don't suck because it's still working after 12 years, but I can't sell. I have such a hard time with that.
I feel like that's like the way that everything's going now too. Is like that's what like the big push with everything is like the sales and stuff.
I know, right? And even like I am a good customer. I like to buy, so I don't understand why I have a hard time selling. But when people say, "Hey, we would like a book," I'm like, "No, you don't need a book. What for? You need an album, you know? Like, sure, here, have it for free."
Yeah, I think there's like a fine line between feeling salesy, but then also maybe doing your clients like a disservice by not doing it.
Totally.
You know, but it's like it's definitely it's a certain kind of person. And as photographers, like we're creators. We're not the type of people that want to get somebody in the room and being like, "Hey, you guys really need this, really need that." But
I wish I could.
We need to be. Yeah, we need to be. You know, and not out of just trying to sell them on something, but because you know, they really should have an album, or you know, they really should have some wall art.
Totally. They should know about like the options. And if they don't want them, it's okay. But what if they do? Like they really would love to have a blown up picture on their, I don't know, any of the walls. But I'm not giving them that. So I kind of feel bad. It's not just because of me, it's also because of them. But I have to find that like line where I'm okay with it without feeling like I'm pushing.
I know. Totally. Though, like that's one of your could be one of your New Year's goals for your business is to get a little.
Oh no! Okay, I'll try. Totally. Yes.
I was curious. So you label yourself as a destination wedding photographer.
Yes.
Right. Okay. What I mean, like, why not just shoot locally?
I only shoot locally, but I'm shooting destination weddings. That's why I'm a destination.
Okay. Yeah. So people because Mexico is like labeled as like a hot spot to get married and stuff. So we've only shot one wedding or two in Mexico, but it seems like you know there's people from the States. It seems like it's a very hot spot to kind of get married over there.
Yeah, I will say like 90% of my clients are from the States or UK or Canada. So
hardly finding you.
Everything via internet or recommendations. Like the referrals are very big for us. But I mean, yeah, I shoot all over Mexico, but I end up shooting mostly here in Cancun and Riviera Maya. There are many, many weddings here. But I'm still a destination wedding because those are destination weddings. So.
Okay, I see. Yeah, but most of your clients are American.
Oh yeah, most of them.
Yeah, interesting. What do you think like makes a really good wedding?
That's awesome. I love that question. Well, I just had we had a couple this year that they're amazing weddings because the people really interact. Like they really love each other. They really are into like connecting among each other or loving the couple, or that's what for me is like the best. Like when I have a couple that actually love each other and care for each other during the wedding, that's like my ultimate goal.
It's hard to do. I mean, there's so many things going on at a wedding too. It's hard for a couple to relax. But would you say that's like one of the best pieces of advice to give a wedding couple is just to like let it all go, just have fun, enjoy this day as much as you can?
Sure, of course. But sometimes you can see that the couple is just not very excited about the wedding at all, or they're not feeling very well, or they're not into each other that much, which is okay. I mean, we're all different. But for me, like the best weddings are where the couple are like really into each other. I don't care about the location. I don't care how they look, what the dress looks like. I don't care about decoration. I mean, for me, it's kind of the same as long as people are actually interacting. That's like I love that.
So you're after more of like candid moments opposed to like these really like beautiful kind of pretty setup shots.
Yes, always.
That's like what fuels you.
Oh God, yeah. I mean, obviously, if you're in a location that you love because the decoration is amazing, you do take those pictures and make sure. I mean, every time we take pictures to make sure that they're getting how it looked like. Mm-hmm. But I'm totally down for like genuine weddings where they're having a good time or they're just being very emotional, or that's like the best.
Well, that kind of like leads me to the next question because I feel like those photos don't get the traction that they deserve like on social media. So how do you feel about like social media has shaped the wedding photography industry because of that?
Well, I think it was a roller coaster for me with that. At the beginning, I was like really mad. It was for me like, oh my God, why is everything like just pretty? And why does everyone wants to shoot like pretty people? And that was like really sad for me. But then like I'm at peace with that now. Like, it is what it is. And I'm really happy when clients see my work and say, hey, we love your work because of this, and this, because it's very natural, because you're really capturing what it feels like. And so I'm okay with that. Like people that actually notice that and just hire me for that. I'm happy with that. I just wish that more photographers realize that pretty pictures are not going to last too long. Like no one is going to, like if your house is burning down, you're not going to try to get like that beautiful location. You're just going to take the photos with your family or something like that.
I know, it's funny because these photos, like these pretty photos are, they're pretty, you know, they're beautiful pictures, but they're all kind of, to me, they're all starting to like look the same, you know, where once they really stood out, but now it's like, it's all this like perfectly curated content, and it's starting to get a bit boring, you know?
Well, like I guess so. I think we've seen so many photos, right? Like right now, especially photographers, we're always seeing what other photographers are doing, and we have the formula already. It's very easy to do pretty photos, and we have to take them because I mean it's part of the wedding. But definitely it's not, for me, it's not the goal. It's not what I'm looking after. I'm never, I mean, it's the same for me what the location looks like.
Mm-hmm. Do you think that with Instagram that it's really shaped the way as far as like what you post because of that though?
I think in Instagram I half and half. I've actually tried really conscious to like put portraits, but also moments, and it's like one-on-one. So people even our portraits are moment driven. You know, like we don't ask couples to just go and stand there and face each other and that's it. We're always trying to create moments or like engage with them in a way that there are some reactions on the portraits. Yeah. So definitely, like, I think one of the first images on our blog and our site is a moment, like a really strong moment where like it's a filter, you know, if people are okay and comfortable with that kind of photography, they will be our kind of clients.
Yeah, because so you shoot with your sister now, right? Or
yes,
did you
always?
Yeah, I didn't know that. Yeah,
oh,
so
really?
I was doing some trolling. I was like, oh my gosh, you shoot with her sister. That's so cool.
Yeah, it's really awesome. We've been shooting for 11 years now together, so we know each other.
And you guys always shoot together?
Oh, mostly, yeah. Unless she has a wedding too, because she has her own brand. So sometimes we have to shoot separate, but I would say 90% of the time we shoot together, and it's pretty cool.
That is super cool. Yeah, it makes it that way. One of you guys can do something more creative, or just, I mean, it's fun to bounce ideas off each other. And yeah, Lindsay and I shoot together a lot too, so I get
awesome.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, just totally trust the person you're shooting with, right? You know,
yeah, totally
discovered. So yeah.
Oh, for sure. So did you watch the Golden Globes?
I just watched like Oprah's.
Yeah. So I mean, that was like, yeah, that was like a big theme of the night. You know, like women empowerment and making sure they're getting like the credit they deserve and that kind of thing. And I was curious if you felt any sort of like sexism in the wedding photography industry.
Totally.
Do you feel like what are like some of the challenges or some things that women face, do you think?
Well, in photography per se, like where I haven't been not hired because I'm a woman, you know, like for a wedding, I don't think that a couple has said, oh no, let's not hire her or them because they're a team of sisters. But definitely in the speaking conference area, definitely you see that all the times, like men all over the place. And
totally.
We're not being invited, or there are not enough spaces, or people are not actually being conscious about giving women like voice. And I understand that we're different, and men tend to be more outgoing and saying, hey, I want to be a speaker, and women are not. So that could also be a thing. But there's so many important messages that women have that everyone can benefit from it. So I found it more in like the industry of conferences and seminars and stuff like that.
Do you feel like it's getting better, or do you feel like women need to like get together and kind of speak up just like they did in Hollywood and, you know, all over the world? And
women doing it. I mean, it's been maybe 2 or 3 years since like the whole thing in the industry has been starting, where we're asking like the actual organizers to give more voice to women, and we have a list of women that would like to speak, and they have a great message. They have like the talent is amazing. And it's not just showing work, it's also saying like all these inspirational or technical or important things that it's another side. And it's not just for women, it's for every single culture. We're so used to just listen to the people that it's part of our bubble that we're just like, it's like a blender just of the same things over and over again.
Totally.
And we're not letting other cultures or the other gender to help us to get better.
Yeah, I know. It's interesting. I mean, when I first got into wedding photography, I actually felt like it was, in a weird way, it was probably just my own, like, you know, inside discrimination, I guess. But I felt like it was almost kind of like a woman's field, though, too. I guess because it's like so intimate and you're like with a bride a lot, and I figured like brides would feel uncomfortable with a guy being there. And then as it turns out, like as I got into it, I'm like, dude, it's all a bunch of dudes who are wedding photographers, you know? I'm like, where are all the women at?
There were, but we weren't seen, right?
Yeah, I know, totally. So yeah, but I think that's good that you guys are speaking out, and you know that's why I really wanted you to be like one of the first guests. Yeah, I mean, you inspire me so much, and like, you know, Lindsay loves you too, and it's just like I'm like, oh, we got to get Citlalli on here. So
thank you so much.
Yeah.
We still face that. Sorry to interrupt you, but
No.
I've sent, like, because I have many friends that are organizing events, and I send them, hey, why don't you just, like, if you're gonna have 10 speakers, you should have 5 women and people from different cultures. They're like, no, talent is talent, and I'm like, exactly. Like, what are you saying, that women are not talented, or what?
Yeah, I hate that argument. That's, it's people like try to, like, well, it's like only guys who are doing a good job right now or something. I'm like, no, it's just that you're just not showcasing any of, like, females' work,
You're not even paying attention.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Exactly. Yeah, I hate that argument too. That's not true.
It's so funny, because I always get asked, like, hey, can you recommend some women to be speakers? I'm like, yeah, this. And they're like, who are they? I'm like, oh my God. Like, they are killing it right now. They're on top of pretty much every association. They're fighting for first place. They're like really, and not even like that, they're being seen, like not even with this exposure, they're being seen, because it's normal. Like, I mean, if you're a white male, you're used to see people that you can relate with.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
If you're seeing a Latin woman, or you're seeing an European woman, you kind of not even see her.
Yeah.
Because it's like, oh, it's not a man, so I can't relate. Right. And it happened the same to us when we go to a conference and you just have a male speaker lineup. It's like, I can't relate to any of that. I mean, I can totally learn and understand, but if I have a woman that says something that can, like, really resonate with me, it's going to help me, like, a lot more. So
right, exactly. Yeah, I mean, and us, and being a male too, it's like, you want a well-rounded conference. Yeah. So I was curious then, what do you feel like is your definition of success?
I mean, it's a very trendy word right now, but it would be balance.
Like work-life balance?
Work-life balance and health, activity, rest kind of balance too. Because right now, I mean, I finally let go my editing process, for example. Tamara, my sister, is doing all the editing now. And I found, like, a good balance there on doing, like, personal stuff with work, because I used to work, I don't know, all the time. The only, like, downtime I had was sleeping, but the rest, it was just working. Yeah. So now I do get to work out. I do get to do my own thing, but it's also a balance on spending time with your loved ones and being away. And I think that's success. Like, earning enough money to live well and be able to save, but not, like, overwork, because that's, like, it was like that for like 10 years and it's not the best.
Yeah, totally. Do you feel like then with, like, the influx of wedding photographers and people maybe not charging what they're worth, or as a whole, is, like, bringing down the market, where maybe you won't be able to have such a good work-life balance anymore? You might have to go back to those 100 weddings just to kind of make ends meet.
Totally. Yeah, it's like the market has changed, and I still get the clients that I like, and they're paying what they, like, we're charging. We're not super expensive, but I've been reading many Facebook groups where there's, like, the Cancun brides and Rivera Maya brides, and you read what they have to say, like the feedback they have from brides, and it's really interesting. Most of them are saying, photographers in Mexico are kind of expensive, so I rather fly my own photographer from the States. Yeah. So they're bringing in their photographer, and one of the problems we're facing here is that all the hotels are charging a penalty fee for external vendors. So they can charge up to $1,500 just for one vendor, and you don't get anything. It's just a penalty fee. Like, if you don't hire our own photographers, like the inside photographers, and you want to bring your own, a local photographer, but it's from outside the hotel, we will charge you $1,000. So they charge that, like, to the couple? To the couple. So obviously for them it's super expensive, but if they bring their photographer from the States and it's like a guest, they don't get a penalty fee. And any photographer that gets, like, oh, we're doing a destination wedding, do you want to come? Oh yeah, just pay for my travel fees and I will do it for free. That happens all the time. So it's really hurting us. It's like, and I understand, because everyone starts at some point doing that. You know, like I want to be a destination wedding photographer. I will do it for free. So it's just really, really hurting the market.
So what do you think is going to happen? Like, what is your end game then? Like, do you feel like you're gonna, I feel like we're in a generation where wedding photographers can actually make a living off of wedding photography, but no one is actually yet retired off of it. So
exactly. No, we know that we can't keep like things like this. Well, I definitely want to keep shooting weddings. Like, I love weddings more than ever right now. I mean, there was this point where I was like sick of it. I don't want to do this anymore. I'm tired. I don't want to deal with the industry. I don't want to deal with the market. Right now, I love it again. Like, I'm seeing weddings. I'm seeing it in a completely different way. So I want to keep shooting it, but I know that this is not going to let me leave out of it for too long. So I just have like 2 or 3 different ideas for different businesses that has nothing to do with it.
Okay.
No, you know, like they're not. Yeah, I know. We can talk about it.
They're secret? No, it's fine.
No, they're not secret. I'm just trying to find something that I really like that has to do with my passions in visual arts and Mexican stuff that can be combined, and I can just keep living from what I like and shooting, but not completely relying on shooting.
Yeah, like maybe shoot more. I mean, that's why I've been really getting into more portrait work. I find it more like a personal thing for me. And I feel like it has like elevated my wedding photography also. But I do feel like personal projects actually kind of turn into something a lot bigger and then push you through. Like, do you feel like that it helps you get through creative ruts and things like that, having like personal like photo projects too?
Totally. I used to like always put them on the side because I had no time for them. But last year, I had a friend who actually asked me, hey, my mom wants a picture of one of the leaves because I'm shooting leaves and flowers all the time. And it's my personal thing. And I'm like, sure, what kind of leaf she wants. So I started creating this project for specifically for them, but it was something that I always wanted to do. So I started shooting I decided I was going to be only 2 hours per week. That's it. Like, I can't keep going because my brain works like when I was little, I was taught that if you start something, you have to finish it. Okay. So I can do it like for 24 hours until I finish it. So it was like, okay, you only can do it for 2 hours. Okay. And I create all this collection of images, and now they're on online galleries and they're selling them. And I'm like, what is that? This happened.
Oh gosh, that's incredible. That's
awesome. It is incredible. It's really cool. I have no idea that could happen because it was only for me.
Right.
So it's just fun. It's cool to start doing something. You never know what you're going to learn from it or where it's going to end. So you just need to start doing things.
Yeah, totally. Just put yourself out there.
Exactly.
Yeah. Exactly. So then you feel like you're kind of more of a person that you have to have like almost a regimented schedule to get things sort of done or to motivate you to do it.
No, the thing is that everything I do, it has to be 100%. So my mom is like, you don't have to give your 100% every time you do something. Like, stop yourself. So that's the thing that I have to like actually learn to like take some time off. And I have to learn to just like, okay, if you started something, it's okay if you don't finish it right away. I just have to, I'm very intense.
I do the same way. Yeah, totally. Totally. It's like I can't get it out of my brain unless I do it. And once I get stuck on something, it's like, I'm like, I have to finish this. I have to really, kind of like the show.
Yes. Even if I have no power, we have to do it.
I know, totally.
I know.
I wanted to go, I'm going to see if we can do this here. I wanted to just go through a couple of your pictures, and then I was hoping you can tell us a little bit about them, maybe the backstory and how it was shot, what you used to shoot it. I really love this one here. Let's see if I can, let's do it like this.
Okay. Sure. So, well, that's obviously a moment, and it's one of those times that you're risking everything for one photo. But also, like, I kind of had no choice because that light is like either works or you're kind of screwed.
Right? Totally. Exactly.
So it was just like what I tell my students every single time is like, when you have harsh light, just shoot for the harsh light. Like, it doesn't matter what happens around. Don't ever shoot for like middle light because you're gonna screw up all the whites, and so just shoot for the harsh light and pray for things to work. So fortunately, is this an Indian wedding where the whole family was there beforehand, and I noticed that there was this ray of light that was perfectly hitting on people's faces at some points. So I was just hoping for the bride when she arrived to be like perfectly lined up in this way, and actually happened. So I think it's kind of luck, but it's also observing a lot, and it's also like being super patient and taking risks. Like it's like that kind of photo where you just have to pray for it, but also be like super like stubborn about it.
Totally. I mean, I feel like the photo gods were like working for you. I mean, you got the moment, and the light is, like you said, is like perfectly on her, and just with the action, it's like it's so good. What's like what's the lens you used?
For that one, it was a 105. I normally don't use that lens. I mean, I do use it as a long lens, but most of my photos are taken with 35. But this was a negativo in a super high place, and it was kind of my only option to use like a long lens for this, but it kind of worked.
Yeah. So what's in your camera bag? Is that what you usually carry on, like 35, 85?
It was 35, 105. I've never used the 85. It's been always 35, 105. And now I'm using a lot 24-70. Like after maybe 7 or 8 years of only using 35, like I'm starting to incorporate 24s and 28s, and it's been like, I don't know, I like it.
Do you shoot Nikon or Canon?
I shoot Nikon.
Okay, yeah, because so Hector, he just asked, he's like, if you think there's any difference between the Nikon and Canon colors? But I don't know.
There's a lot of difference, and I mean, some people love Canon colors. I really like the saturation of Nikon colors too, but the problem is that the new sensors are like, I don't like them. They're like super green, and I haven't found something that I like a lot. Like I used to shoot a lot with D700s, and they're like obsolete completely right now. But I still love them, and I just wish we had a good sensor that had good colors, because Mark IV has really pretty colors where it's super slow for focusing. So
yeah, I know. There's always like something. There's a give and take and everything, but I definitely feel like Canon is up with the color palette on Canon is I feel like is better. But if you're shooting raw, it really honestly doesn't really matter, because then you just in post production you just fix it to how you want to fix it. So,
but like I do like, for me, color is like one of the most important elements. I'm not that kind of person that will shoot just black and white. There's no way. Like I'm not going through that path. But for me, seeing in the screen colors that I don't like really breaks my heart. I know that it shouldn't be that way, but it's just kind of the way it works. So I'm still like, I'm always tweaking the white balance in my camera just to make sure what I see in the screen is like, I can feel it too.
Oh yeah, that's good. Maybe I should start doing that. My brain is like complete opposite. I always work in I'm like, oh my God, I know I can make this so good in post.
Oh, cool. That's good.
But because that's why I hate actually showing couples or portrait clients like the back of my screen. I'm like, it looks like shit now, but I promise you it's gonna look awesome.
That's funny. Well, I don't spend much time on post-production, so that's why the camera needs to look good, Yeah.
So I noticed a lot of, I was going through a lot of your work, and you're really big on, which I love too, is you're really big on framing your couples.
Oh yeah.
So you're always like looking for something to frame them in, to like draw your attention to them. And this photo like super jumped out at me. First of all, like where they're at, like the architecture is like super awesome.
It's crazy, right?
Yeah, where is it?
It's at a resort here in Cancun called The Beloved, and that's the spa. Like it's nothing, But as soon as I saw it, I'm like, oh my God, this is like totally for black and white photo. Like when I saw the place, I'm like, that's the photo I want. But something very interesting about this photo is that I submitted it for the photographic world champion thing. It's like it's a very big thing now. It's a world thing. So they give you actually medals for it, like for a picture, and there are different categories. And it's like, it's a very interesting thing. It's like the Oscars of photography. It's actually like huge. Like they do it in Portugal. And so it actually did very, very well. But for the first filter, the judges told me, oh, but you need to crop it. I'm like, there's no way I'm cropping that photo.
Oh, interesting.
Like they just wanted it, the couple to be on one of the thirds. You know, I'm like, no.
It's really worth it being thinner. Yeah.
Right?
I mean,
well, that's what I think too. I'm like, I'm sorry, I'm not going to crop it. And it did very well. It was like a 8th place on the world thing. So it was a good thing. But I mean, yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. I can see why. It looks really cool. Do you remember what you shot it with?
It was a 35. And this couple was amazing. They were like totally into photos, and we spent quite some time with them. And we didn't have to actually tell them a lot what to do. They were like always reacting to each other, was super in love. So taking portraits of them was very easy, and we're still in touch. And actually when they saw the photo because that's the one you used for
for the announcement. Yeah,
for the announcement. She was super excited about it. And so.
Oh, really? Oh, awesome. Is she listening?
I don't know. I'm not sure, but.
Shout out. I know it's awesome. Would you feel like this was like one of those like moments too where you kind of set him up, put him in the spot, and then just let him have like a natural reaction?
Yes, that's what we do every single time. Like it's like, okay, we have the photo, like we know we already work on the composition, the light, but then we just ask them to like be in a certain position or do something, but they have to interact. Like if they were just facing each other, the photo wouldn't work.
Mm-hmm, totally.
There has to be something in it.
Yeah, it's a connection, you know?
Yes.
Yeah, definitely. So I want to look at one more picture. Again, it's like your framing is always like impeccable. It's so cool how you like do all this stuff. And I know this one has gotten a lot of awards too. This is a Fearless Award winner too. But what's the backstory behind this? Were you doing the wedding party and then like, oh, hang on, I'm gonna go run behind some bushes?
Yeah, so this is one of those photos that I always wanted to do, you know, but sometimes you have this wedding party that is not very cooperative, or there are just like too many, so with this bridal party, I'm like, oh my God, these guys are perfect for it because they will totally listen to what I'm asking. And so I said, okay, guys, this is going to take a little bit of time, but it's going to be totally worth it. Please bear with me. So actually I was behind the bushes. I shot it with 35, but Tamara was with them and we were over the phone. And I'm like, okay, you have to ask the couple to like take a tiny step to the left, and these guys have to be to the right. And so we did everything over the phone. And until I got them there, like Tamara just walked out of the frame, and I just asked them, okay, guys, just have to chat and talk to each other. And they were like, what do we do? You know,
yeah, right.
That's kind of the photos that I just shot a lot until this is the one that I like the most.
Did the idea come to you spontaneously, or did you have this idea in your head that you want to try?
No. I had it like for a long time. I was just waiting for the right wedding, like the right couple and the right bridal party to make it happen. And also I needed the location. Like you don't get these kind of plans all the time. So
right.
Yeah.
I know, it's super cool.
It was meant to be. Thank you.
I wanted to, well, actually, let me pull this question up. Somebody just asked.
Sure.
Oh,
okay. Oh, hi, Poop. What's your future plan as a famous, successful, and trendsetter wedding photographer? Oh my God. That's so funny. Well, I will. Hi, friend. It's so nice that you're listening. Thank you. So I don't know. I mean, we were talking about it, and I definitely want to keep shooting, but I want to make sure that my income is not only from shooting. I also want to keep teaching. That's a very important part of my income, but also something that it's like very, very important for me. Mm-hmm. So I'm just going to keep the same way, but also incorporating new ideas and businesses for the whole thing. Like maybe something that has nothing to do with photography, just to make sure that something else is happening on the side. But definitely will keep doing what I'm doing.
It's funny because, I mean, you are definitely a trendsetter photographer. You're looked up to by so many other photographers. So do you feel that you kind of have this pressure, this added pressure, either like to like keep going and keep being the best of the best, or do you try to just internalize it and be your best, not worrying about what other people feel like you should be doing?
It was both things. I mean,
Yeah.
when I started submitting images to competitions and teaching, I definitely felt the pressure of, oh my God, like now that I'm here, I have to be like, keep being the best, and I have to keep submitting images and winning awards, and that made me really unhappy. Like I was super depressed, and it wasn't good for me. So I realized that I just have to be happy, and then if people want to follow, it's amazing, and if they don't, it's also amazing. And I just find that I have made a lot of friends, a lot of students that are amazing, and I'm also learning from them now. And definitely no need to exceed anyone's expectations, like just mine. And I'm okay with that. Yeah, but it took me, like, I was in that stage too, it's not like, oh my God, I'm just so amazing. No. I was like I put a lot of pressure on, like, I don't know, 5-6 years ago. And now I'm like, I'm not, if I have nothing, I wouldn't submit, and I wouldn't feel sad. And I'm missing many deadlines and contests. And whenever I have a photo that I really like, oh, let's put this in, but I'm not shooting for that anymore.
Yeah, totally. I know so many people are, and it's super easy to get wrapped up in that. And it becomes such a rat race. And then you step back and you're like, God, who am I actually doing this for? And I think it's important to reflect on that and make sure that, like you said, it feels a lot better when you're doing it for yourself, opposed to just doing it to win awards or for other people, or and in turn, I think you get better photos too.
Totally. Because now I realize that whatever I do when I'm shooting a wedding is for myself and for my clients. And that feels so good. Because it's not just for myself, it's also like, maybe before I really wanted to win an award, so I will push the couple to do something, like push the limits, which is okay if you want to. But then I realized that they were feeling uncomfortable, but I didn't care because I wanted an award. And at the end, it's like, no, it's about them and their wedding day, and they hired me for like a reason, and I don't need to be pushing anything.
Exactly. So, yeah, I think that's good. That's good advice, because that's what I was to wrap it up. I was going to ask you what advice you have for aspiring photographers, if you or people just like jumping into the industry, or young photographers.
Sure. Well, that would be one for sure. Like, just shoot for yourself and for your clients. Don't forget about them, right? Like, don't shoot for anyone else and whoever is important at the moment. And it's you because you're there, they hired you, and them because they're the clients. And also make sure that when you invest in education, don't forget the business part, because we were all like, oh, we're creatives and we're amazing and we want to stay inspired. But if we don't know how to help our business to grow, this is not going to last too long. Yeah,
totally. And it's that's why I feel like this conversation and these little Q&As are kind of I mean, they're really inspiring to me, and it's I feel like it's a good way for others who are just jumping in, or even seasoned photographers, to just hear what other people are doing and feel like you're not alone in this struggle.
Exactly.
So cool. Well, thank you so much for being on here. It was so much fun to have you on. Yeah, it was such a pleasure. And thank you guys, everyone who tuned in, who asked questions and left comments. I appreciate it so much. Make sure, like, I'm hoping to do this weekly. So yeah. So tune in, and let's keep the conversation going. So it's really fun.
Oh, that's awesome. I'm excited about the next one. So thank you for doing this. It's so important.
Totally. All right, cool.
To stay connected. So thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you, Daniel.
All right. Bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye, guys. Okay, I think I ended it.
We think. Okay. Now we can say the truth. Oh, thanks for the show. Oh, Robin, so sweet. Thank you.